This is the Rembrandt 300C. If you didn't watch my video about it, go check that out. But today, we're just gonna go over a few different ways to light a talking headshot like this. Maybe a couple that you hadn't thought of before. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first one we're gonna do is some variation of like Rembrandt lighting. And the main characteristic of Rembrandt lighting is the little triangle under my shadow side eye right now, because I have the light high up to the side. So it's coming at like 45-degree angle sort of thing, both down and across. So it does create that sort of depth across my face. There is a shadow side over here, and it does have that sort of triangle under my eye. Generally, you'd also have either a fill light or a reflector over on the other side just to sort of fill in the shadows, which I can just use my Rembrandt MT Pro to do right now. I did have it as a hair light before, sort of motivated by the door back there, but this would be Rembrandt light. This is very standard. You see this a lot in interviews, in talking head videos like this, which is kind of the whole point of this video. It's almost boring in a way just because it's so common. So let's try some different ones. Okay, so now this one that we're gonna try is sort of uplighting, where I actually have the light lower down. It's actually below my eye line. So it does add a little bit of a different look that you're not necessarily used to seeing. It does still create that depth because I have the shadow over on the side. And again, I could use a fill light on the other side or even push it further back and make it more of a rim or hair light. But what this does is it sort of prevents that sort of like raccoon eyes that you can get from overhead lighting, which we'll actually do next. And it's just sort of a bit of a different vibe. Probably what would work better than just a single light like this would be actually making a cove light, which is where you would use uplighting, shoot multiple lights into one big sheet basically, or using multiple softboxes where it sort of really wraps all the way around from the side and even a little bit to the front. And that creates a ridiculously soft but still uplight that can have a very different feel. And Roger Deakins is very known for using this. Maddie Hapoya did a video about that specific concept a little while ago. But yeah, this is uplighting. Now let's try the opposite, downlighting. So I have the light directly above me, as you can see, and here you'll actually see that sort of raccoon eyes sort of thing because my eyebrows sort of block the light from hitting my eyes and just under my eyes. So it can sort of make the face look a little bit weird. So what you could do is just move it a little bit further forward, point it back. But this also adds a bit of an interesting sort of light. This type of lighting is actually used in movies and TV shows a fair bit because it's a bit more realistic, because most, real places have lighting in the ceiling. So if they light from above, it makes it seem like, you're just in a building with a regular overhead lighting, but they would use proper lights to make it, look better. And again, just like all of these shots, we can use a fill light or a hair light up behind us here to add a little bit of dimension, pops out from the background. So this could be a good for maybe an unboxing sort of setup. The one thing that you could do though is add a light near the camera to act as a catch light, because right now my eyes, you can't see anything in them. Whereas they actually did this in Loki season 2. Patrick Tomaso did a video with the DP of Loki season 2. And what they did is they had a small light on like a boom pole that they had somebody basically running around right next to the camera. And that would be the catch light that you could see in the eyes of anyone, especially in the close-ups, but just in general, because they used overhead lighting and they lit the set so much rather than lighting the faces, light for spaces, not faces. They did that, they lit the space, but then they added that catch light as its own little thing. Even though that's not necessarily realistic, it just looks so much better having a catch light. So if I wanted to do something like that, now this isn't the ideal scenario, but right now I do have my Rembrandt 100D with just the reflector. Ideally you'd have it a bit softer than this, but it is at 1%, it's right next to the camera, as you can see in the shot, and it's shining right at my face. So it is lighting my face a little bit, which actually gives it a little bit more of a pleasing look, but then I also should have a catch light right in my eye that I'm not getting from this one. But next one, and that would be side lighting. So I have the light straight off to the side, and it creates a very contrasty sort of shot where all the lights on this side and it's just all dark on this side. And how I've actually got the set up right now, which I didn't actually notice until right now, but it actually is really pleasing because we have dark, light, in the background and my face. So it actually works really well in that way. If I wanted to add a little bit more light, I can again just turn on my hair light here and then just add a little bit more light on the shadow side. Again, being motivated by the door back there and just creating a little bit more dimension. This would be for if you're going for a really like bold, contrasty sort of look. If you want, you know, much more of a stronger mood to it rather than just, you know, standard, you know, interview or any other talking head piece. And then basically the opposite of this, flat lighting, where, oh, that's so bright. Where I basically have two lights at the same sort of intensity, so there's really no contrast. This would also be called like high key, where, you know, you don't have that contrast, everything's just bright. How I have this one set up is probably not how you do it. You just have two of the same sort of setups, but I don't have another softbox at the moment, so we have the softbox on this one, and then this one I'm just bouncing off the wall. And this at 60% and this at 100% works reasonably well. The downside to this is it just like, there's no dimension anywhere. It just, it's very flat, which is why it's called flat lighting. But yeah, not a super big fan of this look. Now onto our last one, bouncing the light off the table. Now this is not an ideal setup. What I might actually do is I'll try using, you know, the table itself where, okay, that's actually now too bright. Let's bring it down a bit. Let's just go with that. But how this one should work is you would have something like a spotlight adapter or a Fresnel up higher, pointing down at the light, or even just having a light directly above the table, pointing straight down so the light bounces off the table up into the subject's face. Now this is used a lot in movies, in stuff like, in like restaurants and stuff like that, where they'll just point a light, probably using a spotlight of some sort, at the table, and then it can light everybody who's sitting at that table. And it seems relatively natural because, you know, often restaurants and stuff like that will have a light that just shines at the table. And that's how they're lit in real life, so, you know, just do it better in the movie. Now this isn't the way you do it. I don't have a spotlight, I'm just using the reflector. The light is in the shot, you wouldn't do that. But it works similar to sort of the uplighting technique where the light is coming up and it creates a different shape on your face with the shadows. So yeah, probably you wouldn't use this for a talking head for YouTube unless you were going for a very specific sort of vibe, but this is definitely a look. So there's 6 ways to light a talking head shot like this for YouTube interviews or whatever. Let me know which one was your favorite or which ones you hadn't heard of before. Go watch my unboxing of the Rembrandt 300C, and I'll see you next time. Or do all the other things. Okay, bye.